want you guys to keep saying that the U.S. destabilizes your country. And I hear that. You know what? I hear that. But I really can't give you guys any grace because the U.S. destabilizes the black community.
Today is June 28, 2025. I'm doing research for a completely different video when this pops up on my newsfeed.
The Department of Homeland Security is eliminating temporary protected status, or TPS, for Haitian nationals who will have their legal status and work permits revoked in early September.
Now, temporary protected status happens for certain individuals of certain countries that have been destabilized, such as Afghanistan or Haiti. And what happens to certain individuals coming from said places is that they get temporary work permits and they're allowed to stay in the United States for 18 months. Now, Haitian nationals, along with other people, allegedly this is ending in September. And I noticed once this happened, there became a lot of back and forth between the Black American community and Haitians online. And for me, I never really saw a lot of Haitians and Black Americans going back and forth. I mean, I saw it more with Jamaicans and then like Africans, like Nigerians. But Haitians, I never really saw it so much. And oh yeah, I remember this. Rewind! I remember watching an interview of a Haitian guy who got his citizenship in Florida, and he talked about a time in which, where he lived, Black Americans used to jump Haitians. And when Black Americans were beating up on Haitians, they formed the Zoe Pound or Zoe Pound gang because they had to defend themselves against Black Americans who kept bullying them. And that even became a story that I heard in other places online.
I'm bringing this up because I watched this video about how these black kids in Elizabeth, Florida were attacking these Haitian girls. And they were black boys specifically who were beating up and punching Haitian girls. And then when I did a little bit more research, I found out that in Florida, they used to have a thing where it was called Haitian Day, where the black kids would go out, the Black American kids would go out of the way to attack Haitian kids. Now, for those who don't know why this is significant, it's because Haitians are the same goddamn color as me, which my grandmother, my dad's side is Haitian, so that might be why. But the point is, they're the same damn color as me. They're clearly black. Some would say blacker than us. And there's little micro racism in between warring minorities. This ain't nothing new. You see this sometimes with the Mexicanos and the Hondureños. You see sometimes with the Guatemaltecos and los Mexicanos también, con los Dominicanos Haitianos también. But for it to come from a specific group of people, Black Americans, from it to come from us, when we grow up having to deal with racism and hate from the color of our skin, is just some really hypocritical to see it. I wanted to just make a video talking about this.
But then I came across a guy that's on Instagram. His name is hood_smart_. He's a pretty good content creator, right? I've been going through his content. He challenges that agreement.
So I'm gonna say this. There's this narrative, especially down south in Miami, that Black Americans used to beat up Haitians. And we used to have this stigma on Haitian. There used to be a Haitian Day. We used to whoop their ass. But my only problem with this accusation is, how do you know it was Black Americans? So despite having Kodak Black down in South Florida, and despite what Florida Promo might say, or Florida 954 Fast Pitch Music might say, there's a lot of different groups down here in Florida. You have a lot of Black Americans. You have a lot of Dominicans. You have a lot of Jamaicans. So who's to say it wasn't these other groups of people besides Black Americans? And why do Black Americans take the whole cake for bullying Haitians? Why us? Why not these other groups of people? I don't know if y'all know this about particularly Jamaicans, but Jamaicans are the only Caribbeans who are able to completely turn off their accent and act like a whole different group. They could talk white, they could talk black very good. You would never know. Patois is damn near English. So how you know it wasn't a Jamaican cross-playing as being Black American or Dominican? These other groups that are from the islands, they have personal reasons to not like you. Black Americans, especially since you got here, there is no personal reason not to like you. So I'm not saying we wasn't there or wasn't involved, but I'm just asking the question. Why do we take the cake for beating up Haitians and nobody else?
So what he says is pretty interesting. First of all, he's saying, listen, I understand that, some Black Americans may have bullied Haitians, but whenever we talk about Black Americans bullying Haitians, we're not the only groups that are in America. There are other groups here, such as Jamaicans and other people in the islands and stuff like that. So why do we get all the slack when it comes to, the bad publicity? And I thought about that. I've been thinking about this in general. Whenever I understand other groups, when they celebrate their achievements, I notice it's always like hashtag like Nigerian excellence, or hashtag Jamaican excellence, or hashtag Trinidadian excellence, right? And we don't get to, participate in whatever their group achieves, as blacks in America or black foreigners in America. But whenever the negativity comes upon the community, whether it's anybody else, if it's a Trinidad that commits a crime, or if there's a Nigerian that commits a crime or anything like that, it automatically falls on the black community. I remember there was a Nigerian American that committed a murder in Dominican Republic. Okay. And basically, this was a prostitute that he had killed. And then automatically all the African-American passport bros got blamed for that. If that same person from the Nigerian American community, basically graduated Harvard Medical School, that person would be Niger excellent.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the you think you is?
Now, as a black American, I gotta be honest. That is true. We don't get to participate in elements of black success with anybody else, right? But when there's a criminality, and that does get dumped on our community. And then I noticed that even on this brother's page with Hood Smart, there started to become more online debates, not only on his page, but on TikTok, about Haitians versus black Americans.
Right. This is the thing, and we're going to speak facts. Black American men make up the majority of the prison systems. And I'm going to tell you this.
Not a fact, and I can pull up the numbers.
That's factual.
Okay, it's not a factual.
So, brother, my question to you is,
Them facts eat him up.
my question to you, brother, is how do you expect us to feel about you, who's coming over here and extracting our resources? You try to move the goalposts talking about some black man in jail cells, but you didn't answer my question. How am I supposed to feel about that? Answer that question.
Okay, I wasn't trying to move the goalposts.
You did.
And this is the thing. I wasn't trying to move the goalposts, but it's like, how are you going to take advantage of your resources from prison? And it's like, what we know is facts. Black Americans make up 13% of the population. And it's one of the women said it.
Hold on. Right, you're moving too fast. I gotta catch you. What does that have to do with the things that we built?
So the guy starts to talk about, well, how many black Americans are in jail? Like, you guys lead the prison population. Now, again, we got to also look at that, because when you talk about black American or African American, included in that prison population would be Haitian Americans, would be Jamaican Americans. Okay, so even he's included in that number if he's now a black citizen, right? But here is something that the brother Hood Smart asked him.
What have Haitians built since they've been in America?
And look, and I'm gonna say it again. I can't speak for who else you had on this panel or who you go back and forth with. I know since I've been here, I never took away that anything that black Americans have done here. And to answer your question, I'll be honest with you. From my knowledge and from my research, since Haitians have been coming here, because they wasn't brought here, I don't see what like big invention or big technology breakthrough. Like, nah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in 100 years.
So we can agree that Haitians haven't came over here to build nothing. What have Haitians built in Haiti so far?
I mean, Haitians in Haiti. All right, Haitians in Haiti. I feel like Haitians in Haiti.
No, y'all ain't building. But you over here.
They built their. I mean, they built their country. What do you mean?
He asked him a question like, "What have you guys built in America?" Right, and that's a tough question to ask the guy. But he asked him this. This is not to say that Haitians don't contribute to the United States economy, or that Haitians don't do great things for, their communities, or even for, like I said, in America in general. I actually love Haitians. I don't have an issue. But these arguments are coming out now since about the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm also starting to understand that a lot of black Americans are lacking sympathy for Haitians.
So when you guys get up on here and try to make excuses and say, oh, the U.S. destabilizes us and that's the reason why, like, I feel you, but it's still, you know what I'm trying to say? And quite honestly, let's be honest, America is your liberator. That's why you guys come here, to have a better life. Because America is your liberator. You guys constantly say that America is your oppressor, but America is your liberator. America is black Americans oppressor, right? So if we can fight the destabilization that is happening within our own countries with our neighbors and still fight, why can you guys not fight when these people have to get on a plane or a boat to come over to your country and destabilize it?
Now, again, I start to look more at what's going on in the comments, and I'm starting to see Haitians clap back. And like, listen at this one.
Black American Floridians, see that? We built up Florida. We the ones who done laid down the foundation, built every black Wall Street in Florida, built all the black neighborhoods in Florida, from Rosewood, Black Wall Street, all the way down to Overtown of Miami, Black Wall Street, known as the Harlem of the South. We built that up. Last time I checked, we the ones who fought in the Florida Seminole Wars as black indigenous for 100 years plus, handing out straight BTAs with no help. And we damn sure wasn't defeated, we just assimilated. The foundation was built by us. Everybody else is just occupying space. And you know what we call that? We call that leeching. As black Americans, I think it's time for us to start claiming Florida more. Name dropping all our achievements in Florida, from Miami all the way to the Panhandle. And if anybody question you about it, ask them what they built since they've been here and wait for a response. I bet you won't get one.
Now, in this situation, you hear a commenter going back and forth with the guy, and I believe this was on TikTok. He just happened to repost it on TikTok, but basically he reposted on Instagram also. And the guy is saying Miami will always remain Zoe's, period. And so what Mr. Hood Smart is saying, well, what have you really contributed to Florida? Like all of this, you know, like the Black Wall Streets in Florida, everything you see in Florida, Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, all of those schools that you see were for black Floridians and not for you. And I think that when we start really looking at the beef between the black communities, we got to start being mindful of what we say. For example, I'm in Uganda, I'm in Kampala, right? And let's say a group of us start doing well here. We can never start to say Kampala will always be for black Americans or hashtag FBA, period. And one of the reasons why you can't say that, I don't care how good you're doing in the country, is because, well, you're going to offend some people who actually did develop that for anybody, right? Like whatever I'm doing in Uganda right now, despite the problems the country has, I gotta pay homage because I couldn't run this business if the country didn't have a certain level of infrastructure. I could be in a different African country that wouldn't have this infrastructure, that wouldn't give me an opportunity. And I am getting an opportunity from being here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. And so what happens is it causes friction in between black groups. And so what I notice is that conversations like this that happen between blacks, and when I hear certain things like this, one of the things that I start to do is I just stay out of it, right? And I think that that's something that we need to really look at when we're going back and forth with people online and the conversation starts to become negative and it's to a point where it's not leading anywhere. We end up getting back to, back and forth disagreements, which again, it just causes more animosity. And the thing about it is this guy who says Miami will always remain Zoe's, period, he don't represent all Haitians. Like that's the one thing that we got to understand. He's saying that, but that don't mean that everybody else from Haiti that cares about that. Most people, what I found out is if you can give them an opportunity and if you're a good person, they're gonna rock with you for the most part, individually of whatever beef is supposed to be happening, right? No matter if they Jamaican, if they Caribbean, if they FBA, if you got something to offer and you a solid person, they gonna rock with you. A lot of times, what black Americans may not know is like on Africa, a lot of Africans would rather deal with black Americans than to deal with other Africans. Like a lot of the FBAs may or may not know that, but that's something I always notice. You will have people, if you were to go to Haiti, I'm pretty sure, you will have Haitians that will want to work with you, maybe other than working with their own group. It shouldn't be like that, but that typically is the case. And that could be said from us to a certain degree or whatever. So a lot of times when you make a comment like what this guy said, Miami will always remain Zoe's, period, it makes other people feel like, oh man, well, all of them are like that, even though that's not true. But I saw this particular comment and it made me think of something different.
And when we get into the conversations about, you know, how other parts of the Black diaspora talk about their parents told them don't ever bring Black Americans home, never am I ever talking about Haitians. Never. Because when you really think about it, the way they be talking about us is kind of how they be talking about Haitians. And I've never had a problem with a Haitian. Never.
And also this one.
I don't know if this is a Haitian thing or a Black people thing, but they'll talk the whole time they're eating your food and still eat the whole plate. Still eat the whole plate. I don't care what nobody say. Like, every bite, they're complaining. Every bite. Oh my God, those people are so judgmental, especially them people that knows how to cook. Like, if you know how to cook, every bite, they're going to complain. That could use some cayenne. That could use some Cajun. That could use some bell pepper. Like, dang, if you don't like it, put the fork down, big back.
Got him.
Now, the first sister says that, you know what? Haitians ain't never did nothing to her. And then another person tried to bring out a similarity between Haitians and Black Americans, criticized but still eating all the food. And why do I want to lead with that? Well, this is what I found out. You're going to have distinction in between all groups, right? People can go back and forth online or even in person. But here's what I want to say. You still got to be careful of who you judge. Not all people, again, I'm going to say, are like that. You got a lot of Haitians, Jamaicans, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Liberians. Like, I was in Kenya the other day. When I look at the Matatu bus and when I see who's on the bus, I'm seeing Michael Jordan. I'm seeing Kobe Bryant. I'm seeing Ice Cube. I'm seeing so many people giving so much respect to the hashtag culture of which we come from. Like, I see so many people just really appreciating folks. Like when the baby comes to Africa or when Chris Brown comes to South Africa, it's a lot of respect going on there, right? And people do love us worldwide. We got to always remember that. Even though we may have disagreements with people in the diaspora, you are loved in a lot of places around the world. That's just the truth, right? And another thing too is you can still work with some of these people. And we got to keep in mind of that. Like, you shouldn't feel like because some people are disrespecting the community online, then they all do. You can get a lot of opportunities working with people that you don't know. And that's in the Black community. That's in the Haitian American community. That's in so many communities. I've been literally helped beyond my wildest dreams by almost everybody. The celebrity junk, the thing that really blew my channel up, was created by a Kenyan by the name of Satati. You know what I mean? I got help from Dima, who's a Russian. I mean, so many people have helped me in my life. Kevin Samuels, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was able to do some things for my mother working with Kevin Samuels that I couldn't do from anybody in my life. And I met him for only 4 or 5 years of my life. The world is like that, okay? And you need to be mindful of, hey, yeah, there are some people who think like that. And there are some people who are going to just judge you based on who you are. And if you're a good person and you got value, they're going to rock with you and they're going to respect you and respect what you have to offer. And I have never had that issue with Haitians. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't had it. But hey, I've met good people that were Nigerians. I met good people that were Ghanaians, that were Ugandans. I also met a lot of bad. As we keep developing as Black people, and even within the hashtag FBA community, not everybody hates you. A lot of people like you, all right? And you're gonna have some people that don't come correct, but a lot of people and many people will come correct. And we still gotta have that opportunity to let people work with you and you work with them. And if there's mutual respect, why not go for it? You're gonna have disrespectful people in any community, but you shouldn't let that be the reason as to why you can't work with them. A lot of people around the world can bring you a lot of opportunity and a lot of money as long as you just keep an open mind. I don't want people to think that because you have online beefs everywhere, that will close you off, that everybody is like that. Please don't do that. You can still make friends out here and make a whole bunch of opportunity for yourself. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again. The episode of the Celebrity Junk. I appreciate for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We out.